Let's learn about setup and teardown in test. If we check out our user.spec.js, in the middle of our test or in our test, we are establishing a database connection, then we are performing our test, and finally we are closing our database connection. This is not ideal because if we go ahead and have another test, we would require all the steps that we set up in this one, and this is a lot of duplication. With Jest or with literally almost any other testing framework or test runner, we can set up what we call a test hook. We can have a before each hook, and this is a hook that would run before any of our tests are executed. We also have a before all hook, and this is a hook that is going to be run, or a function that is going to be run before all of our tests actually start running. And the position of this hook is very important. If we put them here, it's going to run before every test inside this describe block. If we place them outside, it's going to run before every test inside this describe block, and if we had other describe blocks, it's going to run before those also. So how do we use this? In our describe block, I'm going to create a before all hook, and this requires a function. And I'll make this function async since we want to perform an asynchronous operation. So before all tests, I'm going to establish my database connection. Now, after all the tests are done, I'm going to close my database connection. So after all, I'm going to have an async function, and this calls the connection close method. So await mongoose the connection dot close. So before all of our tests run, create a database connection, and after all, close the database connection. Let's run our test again to see if everything works. Now everything is still successful. Now let's add another test, and this is going to be should set the email confirm code for the user before saving to the database. We'll make this an async function, and in here we would require to create a test user also. So I'll copy this, and would also require to save the user to the database. And now that we have created and saved the user, we can expect, or we can write our expectation. So we are going to expect that the created user dot email confirm code should be defined. So we can use to be defined, but defined can be anything. It could be a number, it could be an object, but what we want it to be is a string. So with Jest, we can use to equal, and then we can pass in a string. But the email confirm code is randomly generated, so we can expect that it should be any string. So we can say expect.any and pass in the string constructor. And Jest is going to check this and make sure that it's a valid string. Now let's run our test again. And we have two successful tests. Before all of these tests are run, the before all is executed once, and it establishes the database connection. Now after all of the tests are run and all the tests are done, the after all hook is executed and it closes the database connection.